on KHUM, and we continue our one-on-one candidate interviews. Today we're talking with the 5th District Supervisor candidates. First, we have the incumbent, Ryan Sundberg, here in the studio with us. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Cliff. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you are the incumbent, and we know you as such, but maybe some of the folks out there don't really know much about you other than that you are the 5th District Supervisor. So why don't you give us a little bit of background on yourself?
Sure. I am Ryan Sundberg. I grew up in McKinleyville. I actually have never moved from McKinleyville before. Went to local schools, McKinleyville High School, went to College of the Redwoods, graduated from Humboldt State with a business degree in business administration, and I worked at the casino in Trinidad for a while, and then when I got tired of breathing smoke, I went back to school and sold insurance for about 8 years after I graduated. And then in the meantime, I was also on the Trinidad Rancheria Tribal Council for about 14 years and cut my teeth on government and grants and how the whole system works there at the mostly state and federal level, but a lot of it applied over to the county level as well once I got into it.
So what got you thinking about going from that to becoming the 5th District Supervisor?
My family's been involved in politics for a long time, and then with being on the tribal council, and I also noticed a huge need for having more representation from the rural districts, having more representation from Native Americans. I'm the first Native American to ever be on the Board of Supervisors. I'm proud of that. And I had a lot of people ask me to run when the spot was open. After Supervisor Duffy decided not to run, it was wide open seats. So I had quite a few people ask me to run, and I do a lot of charity work in McKinleyville and that kind of thing, pretty involved. So just the different people that I knew said, "I think you'd be a good candidate." Didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but I'm glad I did it now.
What's it been like this first year? Was it everything you thought it would be, or were you a little bit taken aback, or what?
I had a lot of help from Supervisor Duffy warning me of what I was getting into, and had good conversations with my wife and said, "Hey, here's what I think we're going to be in for if I win this seat." And most of it's come true. I thought she was over exaggerating, but she was not. It's a very busy job. I try and spend a lot of time out in Orleans and Hoopaw and Willow Creek and Orick and do town halls and Trinidad, and so I try and make sure most of the voters are in McKinleyville, but these other far-reaching areas, if you look at a map, I have almost half of the county is the 5th District. It's like almost the size of Rhode Island, and there's one city in all of that, and that's the city of Trinidad with a little over 300 people in it. So that government, and the tribal governments are the only governments that are in my district. So the rest of it, I'm basically the city council for the rest of it, where
because
barking dogs.
Because McKinleyville has no, it's not a city.
Yeah, it's unincorporated, and probably going to stay that way until the law that makes you have to be revenue neutral to the county changes. So it's a really busy job, but I've been here for so long and have connections in all the different communities, and been in McKinleyville my whole life. And I also started the first the McKinleyville Municipal Advisory Committee in McKinleyville. So a lot of the county functions that happen in McKinleyville go to that board first, and for a recommendation to our board. And so that's taken some pressure off me also, and having things vetted through there.
So, as a supervisor, what would be your proudest moment thus far that you have done while sitting as a supervisor?
Let's see. There's probably a few different ones.
I guess your top one, the top accomplishment.
Top accomplishment. I think bringing more jobs to McKinleyville is probably my top one. That was what I ran on and what I was hoping to accomplish. Close second is the relationships with tribes that we have now, and we saved the ambulance service up 299 corridor in the eastern part of the district. That was something that we actually saved lives doing, and I think that without the relationships that we've built, that wouldn't have happened. And so those are big, and we still have a lot of work to do, though.
Absolutely. Now, the Planning Commission has had a bit of a controversial role in the general plan update. Each supervisor, of course, gets to appoint a planning commissioner. Explain your choice that you had for planning commissioner and why you thought they were the most qualified for that.
So my choice for planning commissioner is Sue Maston. She's the vice chair of the Yurok tribe, and her husband is Leonard Maston, who was the prior chair for the Humboldt tribe. So I chose her because I wanted a different voice on there. She is like way overqualified for this. She serves on national committees for Native American women's. She's the chair of these huge organizations. She was the chair of the Yurok tribe when they did their constitution, when they formed as a tribe. So I knew that she would be a perfect choice for process, and she's been through these tough processes before, and I think she's proved that in the time that she's been on the planning commission. She's definitely, I think, overqualified, and she's a busy person, but I've talked her into staying on there and doing a good job for the 5th District and representing a extreme rural voice on there, and a Native American voice, but she also has that perspective that there's more than just rural, more than just Native American. It's we're one big community, and how do you balance all those out? And she's the perfect person for that.
Well, general plan update has been something that's been ongoing for a long time, and it seems to have slowed down and actually moved backwards a little bit. How are we going to get this thing back on track?
I don't think it went backwards. I mean, we're 80% of the way done, and we just got a calendar yesterday from our planning department that showed that our board will be done with the review by the end of this year, and then the staff will have to finish the EIR, and there's some other process things that have to happen before the final vote, but our actual review will be finished. And I think there's 2 chapters left out of all of them. So I mean, it's not been quick, but I think it's been necessary. We've done we've had a job of really carefully balancing property rights with the environment, and I've met with a lot of people on this general plan, and I've went to people who have a complete opposite view of other people, and I've been able to answer every single one of their questions on every single vote I've taken, and can back it up. And I've encouraged people to, if you have questions on the general plan, call me, because there's 2 sides to this thing, and then there's the side that's probably the truth. And you normally only hear from the fringes when it comes to a general plan. And so our job, or my job, is to try and figure out, what do the people want, and what is the right thing to do. On some of the things we're accused of, and especially in this election, is that the guiding principles were changed over the weekend, is one that I've heard repeated. Well, it was drafted over the weekend, but we gave the public another 5 weeks or so after the change happened to comment, and then we changed, they were changed again after that. So that accusation is just not true whatsoever. Some of the other ones are that we're not protecting resource lands, and if you look at what we've done on prime ag land, we're here in Ferndale today, and you look at all the land around here, prime ag land and TPZ land, which is timber production zones, so they're forest lands. We had unanimous votes on both of those. So even, Supervisor Lovelace was on board with what we were doing to protect resource lands. And I mean, that's what people want here. And that's been a focus of mine, is, how do we protect these resource lands, especially prime ag land and TPZ, for, make sure that, there's only a finite amount of it, and we have to make sure it's here for the generations that are coming after us.
So it's no secret that I'm a trail advocate. I have a weekly trail show called Happy Trails here on KHUM. So my question to you would be, what are you going to do to make a regional trail system a reality here in Humboldt County?
So if you hopefully you've dug into it enough to find out that the the wild accusations or rumors that were out there were not true. We have a whole circulation element that our board has already straw voted that talks about a regional trails system. It actually has some really cool things in it that have never been done before, that does planning for trails. It's a countywide transportation plan that's in there. And it says, we're going to map out trails to make sure that when someone builds something in an area where we've had a community process that's mapped out trails, we're going to be able to have something set aside through there to make sure that all these trails are connected. I've been a huge advocate on the Bay Trail plan. The county just got $2 million for planning for that, and we're going to continue to keep working on that. Been in quite a few meetings on how to connect the Hammond Trail to Scenic Drive, and make that road safer, so you can get a bicycle or walk through down Scenic Drive without being in trouble. And what that came out of was the planning commission had changed around trails out of the open space element, but my planning commissioner didn't even vote for that. So not only had I not even seen it yet, because the open space hasn't been to the board yet, but my planning commissioner voted against it, but I still got blamed for it. So what are you gonna do, right?
Okay. So how do you differ from your challenger?
How do I differ? Well, I think there's some major differences. The first one being experience. My opponent's never been elected to anything before. I've served 14 years on the tribal council, and now being on the board of supervisors for, I've been knee deep in this stuff for a while, and I've learned a lot. It is a big learning curve no matter what, but I had some prior experience that helped with that learning curve. When I got on the board, I put myself on the budget committee, and the reason I did that was I wanted to know about all the different moving pieces of the county, and you cannot believe how wide the county spreads for different issues.
So aside from experience, other policy differences between you and Sharon Latour?
As far as I can tell, the only policy difference is things that I've seen or heard during our debates about the general plan, but the things she cites, she hasn't cited anything specific, so I'm not exactly sure, but I think we believe in the same things. It's I haven't seen anything specific, and the things that she has said are not necessarily true in my opinion. Especially the guiding principles and the what we've actually done in the general plan. I believe we've protected resources, and a lot of it is taken out of context, and just I just don't agree with it. And anybody who's gotten to meet with me and show me specific policies, I've told them where it's somewhere else in the plan or how it's been taken out of context. And everyone from the McKinleyville Land Trust to people who have been longtime advocates, I've met with all of them, and anybody who will meet with me, and explain to them my perspective. And it's not very often you disagree on stuff. I mean, every once in a while, there's things, but it's usually not a huge deal.
So real quickly, who's endorsing your campaign?
I've got a humongous endorsement list, but just to name a few, I've got Congressman Huffman, Assemblyman West Chesbro, Connie Stewart, I've got Tim Hooven, Ben Shepard. I made a joke the other night about, I've got it from Patty Clary, who's the director for California for Alternatives to Toxins, to Dennis Mayo, and so I've got a really, really wide range of endorsers. It's on my website if you want to see them, but it's I've got the Hillary Buyer from the McKinleyville Family Resource Center. We've been working hard together. We got the first extreme weather shelter in McKinleyville, and we're working on getting more resources to our most vulnerable in McKinleyville. And it's been fun working with that group and seeing how we can increase all that in McKinleyville, because it's having it not be a city doesn't mean that we can't still get city services. We've got water, sewer, parks, library, police,
right.
And so we need other services as well. So I've been trying to identify them and see what else the city would need and make sure those get into McKinleyville.
We are actually out of time, but I'll give you the last 15 seconds to put a cap on our interview.
Sure. Well, first I want to thank you for having me. It's been fun. That went really, really fast, but I hope people will look at my website and see what I've accomplished. There's a lot of things to be proud of. We have more work to do, and our economy's still a little sluggish, and there's things that the board can do that I have outlined on my website, especially a new business park in McKinleyville I think could be a reality. And I just hope vote June 3rd, and I look forward to serving the people again for another 4 years.
All righty. Ryan Sundberg, thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Cliff.